What is happening, crew? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Brent. I am one half of the stable crew. Dad is down at the boat, and I'm here alive in the 805 reading great books. I have told you all before, love sharing about good reads. I would only share with you books that I absolutely loved. And this is one that I've had on my shelf for a couple months, and it started burning a hole in my pocket, and it was something that I felt was a great time to talk about and to share, as the markets right now are in flux, and we've seen this kind of trend before happen here in the United States in our economy, which of course affects the world. And so we're seeing a lot of that flux right now, and this was one of those times where I needed a great read like this to just get recentered and just remember what is important in money, and that is you and me, and how we interact with money, and how we use it, and how we store it so that it becomes wealth to us, and trying to make the best decisions that we can, which is not always a piece of cake because of our own personal habits and our own personal tendencies, and how we choose to interact with it. The book that I am reviewing today, and so excited to share with you about, is The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. This book is fantastic. Thank you, Morgan. I so greatly appreciate what you've done here. I wanted to think of the ultimate compliment that I could give to the author who would write something like this that is just, it's just so true about all of us. I am also an aspiring author and screenwriter, and I just write for fun, really. To me, it's a hobby. And I really just love the way that he decided to write this and put it together. It is 20 short, really easy to read, digestible chapters that each chapter and each idea, and here it is, compounds on itself. And I think that was so intentional by him, and I just thank you, Morgan. You totally pulled it off. This book has great humble factor to it. It is such a great, interesting, each chapter being a story, and a dive into a particular way of thinking about money, or the history of money, or how people have interacted with money. And for me, it was humble factor in a few different ways. One was in chapter 2, he gets into, hey, nobody's crazy. It kind of, let's all pull back on any of the judgment that we have about how other people spend their money. And I thought that was so brilliant. There's so many things that people do, and you're kind of like, wow, man, you spent your money on that, but that's their money, and it's their money to spend, and they grew up differently than you and I did, and they have different habits and different tendencies and different wants and different desires. And so just immediately off the bat is just like, okay, just whatever judgment you have with what people do with their money, it's like, leave it at your own door. That's not worth sharing. And that's something, to me, I'd rather just be optimistic about. And I've had the privilege of working for people who are billionaires, and for people who barely have their head above water, and they're just trying to save their business, and they're, whatever they can do, and whatever they can get from the worker, and whatever they can, and so in those situations, like, just trying to be optimistic, and showing up, and being supportive, and in whatever situation somebody is in, I think is how we can grow better with each other globally and help each other understand, and be a little less competitive, a little less greedy, a little less selfish, to where we can potentially grow together as a big healthy economy in the future, which is my great dream. I'm sure it's somewhat of a pipe dream to most. Just like how I would spend my own money. Another great chapter and another great theme of this book was kind of based on survival. Just this theme that I felt it in this book while I was reading it. It That's what money is about, and the author hit on that. The two things that we all are kind of affected by is our health and money, and how those things play out and how those games play out in our lives really affects how we do things and how we view things. And so understanding that is, just remembering, it's like, okay, well, this is a tool for survival. And we all, as I've started to become an investor, mostly in cryptocurrencies, which is most of what we talk about here on this channel. And we also are talking about blockchain, and I'm constantly trying to study these things and understand these things and try to keep up so that I can give our viewers and myself like a big picture look. Hopefully at the end of our videos, when you watch Dad and I, you get kind of a, oh, that's all we're trying to do. And, I'm not, especially after reading this book, I am not telling anybody to buy or sell or what they should do with their money. Just trying to understand the big pictures of what's going on and what could possibly happen, and do our best to predict the future, but none of us can. That is something that you might be able to follow trends, and you might be able to trade on a 1 second chart here and there. But what is so powerful to me and hit in the book, and it was something that I read, I believe the same title as I recall, Tony Robbins' book. But there's a quote in here that was, more than big returns, I want to be unbreakable. That is so well put. The older I'm getting, at 36 now, I just get that more than ever. It's just like a light bulb going off. As somebody who's never been a great saver, I've done a lot of changing. And another chapter and theme in the book is that you will change your views, your ideals, your habits, what you want to do for a living potentially. I, more than anybody I know in my life, I have made 5 major career changes: 8 years in medicine, 3 years in restaurant and sales, 2 years in the postal service, 2 years in yachting and cruising, and now I'm here trying to make a go at working online and creating valuable content, hopefully for the people who choose to watch the videos that I help make. And so looking at life with the idea of like, okay, more than big returns, more than me trying to hit a home run, or as we like to say in the crypto ecosystem, it's like, instead of trying to hit a home run or trying to treat it as like a get rich quick scheme, can you invest in a way to where you still got some cash, you still got some crypto, you still got some assets, you can still make your payments every month, you can still have freedom. That is, it to me, is unbreakable. And that quote was just like, wow. As soon as I read that, I was like, I've read that in other great books, and I've felt that in my life. It's like, can I just be consistent? And like that compliment earlier about compounding, Morgan talks about compounding in the book. And I remember my dad teaching me about compounding interest, and it's something like like any big projects, what was the one I was thinking of? It was Crazy Horse in South Dakota, which is this unbelievably gorgeous monument that I got to visit this year. And it is still under construction. I've 40 years, 50 years, I think 3 generations of the same family have worked on it, as I recall. But that is like compounding to me. It's you're chipping away slowly, and you're trying to maintain your vision for the long term. You don't want to take a laser and chop off the nose of Crazy Horse, or get hasty, or it's about slowly saving for the future. And there's so many different ways to do that in this economy, in this world, that it can be confusing, and none of us know all about all of it. And that was another great reminder that I got, is as I'm trying to work on and create a part of it is a financial channel, with crypto and blockchain. It's cryptocurrencies are trillions of dollars have headed that direction now. And so it is a part of the global economy, and looking at that, and trying to do a channel about it. You're constantly trying to study blockchain, and you're constantly, for me, it's beyond optimism, and that was talked about too, optimism versus pessimism, in the stories that you listen to, and that you're enticed by. To me, this channel, talking to all of you, is really about integrity. I wouldn't review a book that I didn't love on here. I'm not gonna, just because I read it and I can make a video. It's like, no, this is something that I would and I will be getting for my family and friends. I will give this copy away. It is that important of a read, and so just trying to get those great gold nuggets and those reminders. And for me, I've been doing the series, the Blockchain 5, and the Blockchain 5 is just all about, you're going to play your own game and do your own thing. The reason I got interested in blockchain is when I started to understand it. When I saw enough that I could be like, oh, okay, I understand why this is a robust system, why this is potentially going to be used by many different industries in the future. I got it, and then I just continued to learn about it. And so my advice to anybody who's going down that kind of lane, and I have invested in crypto personally, is just understand what you're getting into, study it, track it. You'll never know all of it. You'll never see a lot of these big swings coming. That's kind of what we've seen happening. We've seen some really big swings in my lifetime. Something I found to be so fascinating was that the author and I, he started writing about finance the exact same time that I got into it. And that was right at 2008, right when the bubble was popping, essentially. It had grown through 2006, 2007, and then we saw the real effects and the aftermath in 2008, 2009. And so getting into that state of mind, and he in a chapter is talking about optimism versus pessimism, and what stories you hear and what influences you. My start and my interest in finance was very pessimistic. I did not appreciate, and nor do I still appreciate a lot of the laws and regulations and things that were bent or broken to allow these big investors to over leverage again, it's judgment. It's water under the bridge to me now, but at the same time, that's how I got into it. I got into finance through a very pessimistic view, and that was kind of my fuel. And now I'm here. What are we? 13 years later, going on 14 years later. I'm doing a somewhat financial channel about my optimism and trying to preserve integrity, and trying to find the gold nuggets in my research and give them to my subscribers, to my people who are watching this content. And I know that my dad feels the same way, and so I'm so privileged to be able to do this show with him, and so there's so many. Oh man, I could talk to you all for days about this book. There's so many wonderful things that I remembered, and I'm just going to go through a couple here just to finish it off. One is never enough versus enough. What? Here, I'm just going to ask you all the question. What is your enough? What's your dollar amount? What's the house look like? What's the car look like? What is the relationships look like in your life? And something I like to talk about and think about spiritually is like thinking from the end. Can you think from the end on what you want it to look like, and can you remember and ask yourself the question that Brent asked you, which is how much is enough? How much is enough in all of those things? And more than ever, I ask myself that. And I have a number, and I have a vision of a particular house, and I have a vision of family and friends, and I try to, as more than ever, day by day, just try to build on that. Like 1% better. Like try to achieve it. Try to sit down and work more. Try to get to that goal and vision. Try to compound my days to get to that place. And so that is something that I'm becoming so passionate about, and I'm so happy that I have made the changes that I've made, and I have grown. Another one, being freedom is the highest form of wealth. It is why I've changed careers so much. I can see the pattern now. I can look at the history of myself better than you can look at the history of anything else. Look at the history of yourself, and can you identify those patterns that have shaped you and changed you, and are very visible when you step back and you look at it from 40,000 feet. You're like, I can look at my jobs and I can be like, yeah, I did not want to be married to work. I never wanted to be married to work. I wanted to be able to wake up and kind of start how I want to, and incrementally work harder and harder until I learned how to work smarter and smarter. And hopefully I'm getting there in my life. And so asking you all, how important is your freedom to you, and how can you save or invest, or those things don't even have to be money, but just time and effort, and how your energy, what are you doing to be able to stow away and save up for some freedom in your own life, to do things the way that you want to do them. So yeah, again, humbling and beautiful ideas are just like ripping. I've read this book the last 2 days. I read it quick. It was a about 2 half days, and it just flew through it, and it was wonderful. And my brain is just reeling about it now. There's 2 more that I have here: patience versus greed. You all know about that, and this book is full of those stories. So many comparisons, so many different being able to look at an entire life, an entire period of time. And the author does such a great job of taking certain people and just saying like, okay, wow, look, this person, this janitor, when on his deathbed, he was a multi-millionaire. Okay, and he was just a janitor, and he obviously made some other investments and did some other things, but there's obviously, you can look back and there's some frugality to that, and there's some vision in that, and some great beauty, and you always hear about the big investors, but you get to hear about people like that in this book. And to me, that was the most motivating character that I read about, more than any of the other big investors. That was the story that I identified with the most. It was, can I live humbly and save a lot and invest wisely and have a long-term vision and goal to where I could leave my loved ones some money. I could leave my friends some money. I could leave an imprint service-wise on this world. And so it was beautiful. Last one I'm going to leave you guys with, thank you so much for being with me today, is there are things that are never worth risking. And I have even made that mistake recently in how I've invested. I invested in a DEX that I lost. I got in at the very top. I did not know that it was the top, and so that kind of chipped away at my freedom money, and that is something to me that I was just telling you all about. It to me is the highest form. It's when you can give the most energy and power and effort over to your loved ones, to your friends and family, and that to me is of great importance. And so, was it worth it to take that risk? Well, now I look at it and I'm like, absolutely not. Like, I would never take that risk again. I'm willing to learn from it and share with all of you about it. If you're going to jump into anything, again, research it. Take a week and think about it. Not only is what is everybody saying, but what is your gut telling you? What is your feeling about it? Not looking at a huge return, but looking at you as being unbreakable. Think about yourself being unbreakable. Not get rich quick right now, but how do I continue to build and make myself unbreakable? And so, yeah, in the book, and I am absolutely going to back this 100%, the things that are not worth risking and the examples that the author gave included friends, family, freedom and independence, and reputation. And those are things that I hold very dear. And I know a lot of you probably feel the same. So how do we help ourselves become unbreakable? And that's where it starts. You are playing your own game. No matter what advice I give, or my dad gives, or your favorite investor on YouTube or wherever, you are the one playing your game. And so how are you going to do it to where you're going to have the greatest amount of happiness, and you're going to be able to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish and reach those goals? And I'm going to end it there. And I just I want to put it out there that you all do get to accomplish your goals, and you get to become unbreakable and have that kind of confidence about yourself and in your life. And you use money. Money doesn't use you. It is a tool for you to be able to store your energy and save and make yourself more robust. Thank you all so much. Love you, crew. Hope you all have a great week. Stay awesome. I'm out.